Welcome back to We Are Live. Chris Denman, Travis Sorrell in the Midcoast Media Studios. Check out midcoast.media if you want to see what we've been up to in the last few months and moving forward. Proud to be here, rocking and rolling today. Great first half of the show. Go back, download that, watch it on Facebook, Spotify, all that good stuff. Excited to be here, Travis. We've got a lot to get to this hour. Fair or Foul today is going to be a good one. You can email wall@weareliveradio.com. The topic, parents videoing themselves throwing cheese slices in their babies' faces.
Can we put an asterisk on that? We keep saying parents like it is all parents. We know
all parents matter.
Who the parents actually are that are doing this. Why are you guys afraid to specify that?
No, we cannot put an asterisk there.
Thank you.
Okay.
I like whenever Travis tries to say asterisks, too.
Yeah. Has Black Twitter reacted to that at all?
Like we do every time y'all come up with these dumbass challenges. Shake our head.
There they go again.
There they go again.
So you just shake your head.
We just a lot of shake your head.
SMDH.
Like I gonna mess around and throw it on the wrong baby and watch that baby like in 6 months come back and shoot you in the kneecap.
Is that what will happen? Because of the height?
That's how, because they can't get that high. Like, you know what? Break yourself, fool. Shoot yourself in the kneecap, and you're going to be looking like it.
Would it be something like that great film that Marlon Wayans did, Little Man?
That was
friend of the show,
friend
Marlon
of the
Wayans.
show, by the way.
What does break yourself mean?
Break yourself. You got to, hey, man.
That's not an explanation.
Yeah, that didn't really.
You just be like, hey, man. And you just stop.
That still
break
doesn't
yourself was
explain.
always followed by comma, fool,
Yes.
exclamation point.
Basically,
Break yourself, fool.
Basically, like, prepare yourself for battle, my friend.
Okay,
It's
that's
about-
at least an explanation.
You're about to get shot.
Well, that seems to take it to another level. That's
Well, that's
unnecessary.
why you got to break yourself.
We haven't really checked in on the text line too much. We
Oh,
have a
wow,
few,
because I'm sure there are just gems just going up and down our feed right now as we speak. What do you have for us, Chris?
Well, I told a story earlier on in the show. You can go back and listen to that. It's very embarrassing. One of our amazing listeners, who I believe this is the Hunchback of Von Castle, did a Chris Denman Google search trying to find the crash, and he just he typed in Chris Denman accident. First, don't do that because the first Google search that comes up out of 224,000 results is ex-Victory employee Chris Denman gets 55 years in sex crime case.
Oh, no.
Tulsa judge sentences ex-church worker to 55 years in prison.
Oh, boy. It sounds like the Chris Denman I know.
Not the same Chris Denman, I swear. So thank you for that text. I had to read that. Another text coming in. Ooh, a lot of R. Kelly memes from Jamie Moyer's Fancy Foyer. And also the some more Shake Shack discussion as well. So lots of great stuff on the text line and in the comments.
Before we go further, and it wasn't a debate, it wasn't a big debate online between a ton of people, but I did see a tweet, and I kind of expected it. But obviously what R. Kelly has done is absolutely horrific. And
allegedly done.
Sure. And he is considered a monster, and there are still victims of his
Alleged
potential
monster
crimes out there. My question is it really wrong in you guys' eyes?
What he's accused of? Of course.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Just because he's black, you want to support him?
Calm down.
Is it wrong for people to be making the memes and making light of and look, I'm of the thinking that I have no problem with the jokes. I think you can still bring levity to a situation and acknowledge that there are real victims. I know that's very difficult in society to do two things at once, but I think we're capable of doing it. I don't think people are discounting the victims when they make the memes and the vines and the jokes. I find them hilarious.
They still have vines?
I don't know if they do. I'm assuming that's
People
what the young
repost
people do.
vines.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts on that. It's not just specifically
I'm
R.
just
Kelly.
really
We've done in the
confused
past.
because you're taking a larger societal, careful look at this. You're not just screaming. I don't know how to react to that.
It's kind of uncomfortable. You've made
It
us
is.
all uncomfortable.
I didn't mean to make anyone uncomfortable. I think it's. I
think you did, actually.
I am saying that.
Specifically, the way you phrased that question was meant to make us uncomfortable.
But I thought that in the moment of the question, it did give me pause, and I had to think about my reaction because I don't think less of the victims because someone made a meme or made a video.
There's completely
I absolutely
separate.
understand. I think it's the internet mocking R. Kelly's behavior and his reaction to the accusations,
It's a form
not
of punishment
people
reaction.
laughing at the accusations themselves. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think people are so cavalier in their creation of these jokes that they're ignoring the real victims here at play. Look, we made...
I just don't know. It depends on the perspective you're coming from. We talked about this with the Robert Kraft stuff too.
Yeah.
So
How
it's just,
far
I
do
don't-
you have to... It's a
If there's
fine line.
pushback, I can understand because it might be a perspective that I haven't taken or
Also-
thought of or addressed.
And to understand does not mean that I would say censor comedic reactions.
Yeah.
I'm of the thought too, and Travis even probably would disagree with me at a line, like if done correctly, I'm not joking when I say anything can be talked about in a comedic way. Anything, period. And I think that's really important to hold on to.
I think I get your sentiment.
It's not
I
a
think
sentiment.
I think it's misplaced in that I think if it at the end of the day it has to be funny. Just because you're on a comedy stage and you call yourself a comedian
Did you hear me
doesn't
say
mean
if done correctly?
but what is correctly? That's incredibly subjective.
Can Dave Chappelle talk about people being involved in the Me Too movement? Yes, I think so.
Can Chris Denman?
Sure.
Is Chris Denman a comedian?
Did I
Is Chris
say
Denman?
I was?
No, what I'm saying is it's subjective. You say if done correctly, just because Dave Chappelle does it doesn't mean it's going to be done correctly.
But you
Just because
shouldn't-
Seinfeld does it, it's going to be done correctly.
Just because you're going to take this stance, the next 5 comedians that come in here, that 2 are there, tell them you want to censor them. Tell them you.
That's
you
not
wanna do
sense.
that.
No.
It is, though. It
look.
is.
If a comedy promoter wants to put you on stage, he's giving you the platform to say almost any and everything.
And they
My
should be
thing
allowed
is,
to.
and I think that you also have to understand there's going to be a large segment of society that thinks that there is no place for someone to say certain things about certain people at any point. And that's just the reality that exists. If that was the case, Louis C.K. wouldn't still be getting the type of blowback that he's currently getting. I think people realize that there are certain things
doesn't
that
mean
just
it's
don't have a
right.
place on stage. Talking about pedophilia, okay, yeah, sure. In this country, you have the right, without going to jail, to sit on a stage and talk about pedophilia. But just because you're a comedian doesn't mean that you're in the position to just do it. That doesn't give you
I
that
think that's
right.
exactly the position to do it. Now you can.
Now,
you
if
can
people
take-
don't laugh, that doesn't mean it's
doesn't-
our fault that we're not laughing. Because
Correct.
I would expect some comedians say, "Oh, you just don't understand." But no, we get it. You're just not funny.
You're not exploring it the right
Yeah.
way or the way that you want.
And
or
I
anything.
probably would question your intent. Are you trying to be funny,
Right.
or it's like Clint Eastwood playing the roles he plays now.
And if
Are you trying?
Oh,
to,
I'm not saying
Are
there
you
can't be
trying to play
pushback.
those roles? Or are you trying to get something off your chest? Really?
I
Right.
feel like a comedy club or a comedy performance should be damn near super. You need to be in the room and you need to be super protective over their right to explore any topic imaginable. In my opinion,
I think that's easy to say if you are not the intended target.
you have the opportunity.
No, and
on a
I'll
weekly
add, I think
basis,
it's easy to say
not
as a
once.
white male because I believe. No, and I do mean that, and I mean, and here's why. Because you're
that's
never
garbage.
Because I think a lot of times when these jokes are made, white men
Tracy
aren't
Morgan,
always the
Tracy
intended
Morgan had a big dust up where he was on stage and he was recorded saying if his son was grew up gay, he would stab him. Tracy Morgan, in that moment, you take that sound clip and you weaponize it and put it somewhere else. That is horrifically wrong and terrible for the general mindset of everything. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to be upset with that, but I am saying the art form and the rights that we should allow people to have in these stages, whether you're exploring, if you're him exploring that as a comedic thought, or if you're something that I don't even necessarily think would even be funny to maybe anyone.
Right.
I think you should retain that right to be able to explore that, and
Well-
it should not be taken out of context.
Right,
So,
and,
so that's
but
why
if
I would
you
say,
go
Okay,
there-
now
don't say.
there,
Hold on.
I had to pause you there.
So
'cause you
don't
said,
say as a white
you say
male.
you
Yeah,
say
that's-
don't take it out of context. See, now that's where I say pause.
You need to be
can't-
in the room
You can't
during a
tell me to
stand-up
take
set.
something out of context because
if you're
I'm
not
sitting,
there and you weren't there for the entire set, do not take one clip of a sentence out of context. Does that make sense?
But my thing is, if I am in the room, I can still say
You can react.
I can exactly. So I'm saying is, don't take that right away from me to react.
No one
and,
did.
And to,
No
to
one
Gardner's
did.
point, I can also question: are you telling a joke or are you really just up here getting some shit off your chest?
And don't be
That's fine.
surprised if there's fallout if you get
That's the risk
Exactly.
thing. That's the risk thing.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Then.
Well,
Is
no,
at the end of the
you're
day-
bringing in as a white male, which
Well,
is
I am
maybe
because
one
I think a lot of times when you're not an intended target of a particular topic, it's easy to sit on the sideline and say, "Oh, you should not be upset at that."
Okay, well, it sucks to get hit in the head. Is that relevant to the conversation?
I'm
currently?
saying specifically though, when you are not the intended target, when you're not the reporter
I just
that
gave
got
you an
made fun
example
of
that
for
had
being a
zero to do with
handicap,
white male.
I can understand why people who aren't handicapped are like, why would a handicap be offended by what President Trump did when
What's
he
a
made fun of him
handicap?
on stage?
Hey,
I'm saying
leave
though,
Joe Biden out of this.
I believe though it's often said, and you hear it a lot in these arguments, and I see Joe Rogan and I listen to him, and I often question when you're not the intended
What?
target. When
You
you're
mean
not
any
the
comic ever?
No, I'm saying that when you're not the intended target, it's easy to sit back and say you shouldn't be
So
offended.
you have a problem
Travis?
with comics exploring ideas on stage.
No, I'm saying that you can do it, but you can't sit up here and say then you should be offended because you're in a comedy club.
Nobody,
I'm
no
saying
one
it.
is
Okay,
here
as
has
long- as
said
long-
that.
okay, as long
so
as
why
that's
would
not
you
what we
do
do
that,
that.
and why would you take the conversation in that direction?
Because that's what people believe, that when you sit in a comedy
Not
club
in
and
this
someone
room,
says
not in this
something
conversation.
offensive, I'm just making the point that just because you're a comedian on stage saying any and everything doesn't mean the audience won't have a negative and visceral reaction to what you're saying.
As they
And to
all
take-
know and would take that. That's
Who are
their
you?
risk.
Now, I don't think
That's
all
their
comedians.
risk.
I don't think all comedians know that, and I don't believe. I've seen.
So since no one in the room or no example provided has had anything to do with what you said, why bring that up?
You're saying that basically it's a free for all when you get on stage when you're a comedian, right?
I think it's important that comics should be able to explore any topics, and they are subject to reaction of the crowd. In today's world, when you can take a room full of 100 people and take a snip and make it something else, I think it can be taken way out of context and weaponized inappropriately, and that sucks. I challenge you to take that tomorrow. We have Beth Stelling in here. Have a conversation with
I will
her.
absolutely have
a conversation with any
with
number
a
of
female
any-
comedian about content being shared. Oh, I would love to have that
Please
conversation.
do, because I've yet to see it.
I will happily have a conversation because I would imagine there are comedians who she knows that she can speak to who have gotten on stage just to say shit and disguised it as
And that's
comedy.
not what I'm talking about.
But there are. Okay. All right. Then.
Again, not relevant to the
It
you
is
can bring
because
that up,
what
but
I'm
you
saying
can't
is there's
bring
a
that in as
culture
an
of comedians
argument.
that do that.
So fuck them.
Okay.
I have
Did
no
you
idea.
just pour
I
yourself a
don't
cup
know
of
why.
coffee just so you
did
could
I?
use it as a prop here now?
I
All of a
kinda
sudden,
did.
okay.
But there's often times when we talk about offensive language, when we talk about someone being offended, or when people go on their rants about PC culture, it's often coming from people, again, with all due respect, that are men and that are white. And I think it's
I think
we have
any
to take it
self-worthy
I think we need-
comedian would argue for free speech to a degree.
I'm not saying take away free speech. I'm saying that oftentimes when these conversations take place, it's, well, because it's free speech and I'm a comedian, I can say any and everything. And I think
Who says that?
I think that's bullshit. Well, plenty of
says that?
comedians have said
Who?
that. Plenty. You just sat up here and defended and said that you can say any and everything on stage, right?
I said the idea should
And
be.
you said if done correctly, and I said that was subjective because just because Dave Chappelle or Jerry Seinfeld does it doesn't mean it's being done correctly.
Well, right. Like, I'm not saying just go up and start shouting the N-word and mask it in comedy.
But
which
you would
seems to be-
protect. But you're saying you would have no problem for a comedian getting on stage saying that.
No. I
You just
didn't
say they should
that.
not be censored and have the opportunity to get on stage and say
The
any
idea
and
should
everything.
be that any idea can be explored in a comedic arena. That is important.
When do we decide it's funny? When do we decide it's comedic?
I think
attend
here's-
and
Just
here's-
because
you
he's a
decide for
comedian and
yourself.
it's open mic and he says it?
Let me play devil's advocate here
Ooh, this
before
is
we get
gonna be
into
good.
it. I think what you need to hear from Chris, you're stopping his point at one area, Travis. He's asking that it be explored. But he's not saying that they should not have blowback or fallout.
You shouldn't get mad if DC Curry goes up on stage. So throw the white male thing out that makes your argument so hollow. Throw that out. I'm talking comedy, comedians, last bastion of entertainment, something that we love and talk about every single day and week on here. DC Curry wants to go up and talk about some messed up stuff that happened. I think we should all be on board with his right to do so. It is your right to react, not love, not get into, not laugh to that. But the right to go up and do that is super important for thought, for ideas being shared, for healing in these kinds of things. That's my general thought that requires no use of falling on white
And there
men.
can be punishment.
Absolutely.
If you're going to explore it,
get ready.
Know
ready.
what you've done. Don't come back with apologies and all. And what Travis is simply saying is, if you're going to explore it, don't expect us necessarily to be on board or to not shoot back.
Which I would not ask. I would not ask for that.
Now you are asking, but we have seen comedians question the crowd and question the club and question the promoter. But that's what I'm saying.
That's a weak-minded person.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're on the same.
If you're going to go there, then you shouldn't have gone there to begin with,
right?
Because you don't have the mental capacity to back it up.
But we have seen people go. But we have seen people go after the crowd and they go after the promoter of the club. They weren't just with it and they were up here. No, they didn't find it funny. And I just don't want the flip side of that argument to be, if no one laughs or if someone finds it offensive, you can't then flip it and say, well, I'm a comedian, so you should just take it. You cannot use it as an excuse. Exactly.
And you can't, and both sides of that. Absolutely.
And free speech has really had nothing to do with it.
Right.
Free speech is a governmental thing.
Right, exactly.
Like, you can't bring free speech in unless the government's coming after you. I don't know why people continuously do it.
The free speech thing, I mean, in a
people talking about it
market of ideas
Twitter,
in a comedy club.
It's with conservatives on Twitter being, whatever.
Which is really funny.
They're a private organization. Right. We dealt with this with the NFL. Right. They're private. We don't like what they're doing necessarily in some cases. But the government's not doing. The government ain't doing shit to you.
Right. And that's the only thing.
Stop with free speech because the government ain't doing shit to you.
Exactly. And that's my only thing, because I feel like sometimes there are comedians who want it both ways. They want to be able to say any and everything on stage, but then when someone either doesn't laugh or they walk out of their set, well, now it's the crowd's fault.
Yeah,
and that's
not fair.
That should never be the narrative.
Who would be okay with that? If you use that as an excuse, then you're a punk.
I agree. And we will continue this conversation with Beth tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it.
You've had 3
Take
years
a sip of your coffee. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Highlight
Delicious.
the point.
All right,
we've had comedians
now, huh?
We've had comedians that have come in our show, and they have said things in the past that I would imagine a lot of people, even in our own audience, probably wouldn't. But they had never gone to the extent of saying, "Well, the audience ain't shit." If you are that comedian, I'll happily call you out if you're the comedian that
you should.
Oh my God, I said this penis joke and women in the audience got ticked off. No, you said a joke that people didn't find funny, and they're entitled to not laugh and be offended in the same way you're entitled to say that joke you just shared with the entire audience.
Would you also agree that sometimes people just get offended to get offended?
I'm sure they do,
Absolutely.
but here's the funny thing about that. They too still have that right. I don't agree with it.
I agree. Yeah,
I don't.
you're right.
I don't think that's how you should live your life. But
don't tell me how to live my life.
Yeah,
I do.
I will find anything to be outraged about, Travis.
But I do believe there are things in our culture where people do go out of their way to get outraged about. But
there's a currency to it. You see it
very
on Twitter.
much so.
I don't do it because I don't really get involved in Twitter this way. There's a style of saying, to the guy who said I wasn't this, or to my boss who said I could never do this because my left arm's shorter than my right arm, here's me and I'm beautiful, or here's me and I'm capable. Every one of those, for every one that could be real and it is someone expressing themselves online, which is very normal, 9 out of 10 of those I want to quote, tweet, and go, never happened. Never happened. Because it is a currency on that you'd get a bunch of retweets and love. Like, here you go, soul brother, soul sister, whatever it is. Like, I'm behind you with the force of Virgo. Sorry, I didn't.
To my dad, who said you'd never amount to nothing, you were right. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
The criticisms of me and just say, you're right.
You said I would never amount to anything.
There it is.
And you kind of nailed that one.
Yeah.
That was well done. That was
I wish I would have listened. I wish I would have. Yeah, you were always doing woodworking. I wish I could do a craft like that of some sort.
And again, I think that we can put a button on this to clear up my point. I think a lot of folks say, man, are blacks in this country sensitive? And I say, absolutely. Why wouldn't they be? Considering the documented history of things that have happened to minorities in this country, I get why gay Americans are very sensitive. I get why black and Hispanic Americans are very sensitive, because they have had a history of essentially being shitted on consistently. So I think it's okay if people, it's very true, past tense, but I think if people, I think you have to take it into context. A lot of people are on edge because for so long it's been so much passive aggressive bullshit from whether it's the government, their own boss, their coworkers, their neighbors, that people are ultimately fed up. So when they do go to a comedy club where they go to relax and enjoy themselves and laugh, and it appears that a comedian is on stage simply taking shots at a particular group just to do it, I think the audience is right to go, wait a minute, pal. I'm missing all your punchlines.
Now, if
but
you-
you're getting out a lot of N-words here. You're missing punchlines, but there's a lot of N-words in your joke.
That doesn't happen.
But you ain't making. Oh, it happens more
If
often
you're
than
a
you think.
comedian who explores
not-
a topic and you want to try and use that as, hey, I'm going to explore it. I have that right. And you're not funny and you're not good at it. You do.
The market
here's
speaks
here's
for
what
itself,
happens,
generally.
though. This is what happens. You then probably lose that right to ever explore that topic
Correct.
again.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a,
Yes.
it's
Very
a
true.
tightrope you
So-
choose
Very
to
true.
walk. But
Know that.
my thing is more on the
True,
mindset
very
too.
true.
So
And
be
I'm not
good.
telling you
Be
don't.
good is what
Be
we're
good.
saying.
If you're
Be
going to do
good.
it, be good.
Yes.
I'm also saying, like, also if you're going to a comedy club, like maybe wait for the punchline to come back around, because exploring a topic can seem like one thing, and whether it's inflammatory, has anything to do with race, gender, whatever else, it's generally going to come back around.
Or be good. Just be good. I'm just saying, if you are going to do it, be good. Go. If you're going to go to that well, be good. And we know comedians, and I know we haven't gone to every
And what people
open
can
mic in
pick up
America.
on, people can pick up on an intent. as
Yes, yes.
well. It can.
But let the intent build and play out.
That's my thing.
Then you have a
I'm
then
saying that
every comic come in here
you
will
have
have an
to
issue.
trust
with
the
that.
audience. The audience isn't stupid. The audience isn't dumb.
I
No, but
disagree.
no,
I don't-
but what Chris is saying
You
that the
can't-
intent might come around.
A paragraph is not a sentence. Let the paragraph happen.
What if it's a 7-minute thing? What if it's like a 7-minute thing where the beginning and you're like, oh, what's this doing? But you need the ending to tell
You're
the
just
complete
waiting
story.
to then don't go to a comedy club.
I'm not
If
saying
you-
you're waiting to be offended.
You are.
I'm saying that what you're saying could be offensive, and I'm entitled to be offended by it.
Now,
Please,
now,
go
now,
ahead.
no
Go
now
ahead.
wait. I will say this: if that's part of what's going on here, like it takes a long time to get there, you probably should adjust how you're telling the joke or telling the
Very
story
true.
then, because you're not effective then.
There you go.
You're not effective in conveying what you're trying to do.
Hold on, I know I got 7 N-words in before the punchline, but there are 4 more coming. I
Name
promise
one
you will
comic
laugh.
that you can
but I'm
cite that
saying,
Yeah,
does
that
that.
seems a little bit
You're
of a.
really taking
but-
it to the
No,
extreme.
that's
I'm
a
not
little
saying
bit of
that-
a straw man, Travis.
First of all,
Seriously,
I have
name
gone to open mics where people have used.
You're going to equate open mics that are idiotic people to the creme de la creme, what we expect out of the top level of
Creme
comedy.
de la cremes who have thrown the N-word around. Let me see. Michael Richards? Ring a bell?
Wait, stop. A guy who did 4 comedy sets ever?
A guy
You're going
who
to call
was-
him creme de la creme?
You're talking about the guy
We're
that
talking
was
stand-
an actor on the
tapped
biggest
out.
comedy show in the history of
Is he a
television.
stand-up comic?
He got on the stage to try to beat one. What do you want to do? Oh, is he a stand? Now he's got to walk around with a chain around his
So
neck.
you
that says
just brought
stand-up
up an
comedian?
example. You brought up
just
an example
a guy
from a
that
decade
knows.
ago who was not a stand-up comedian.
But I'm saying, so you think
And that's not okay. Of course, it's not okay.
But I'm
so
saying here's
please
a
don't
guy.
equate him to a headliner.
But I'm saying
that-
here's a
that
guy
was
that's
10 years
been
ago.
on national broadcast television for almost half his career. So you think he wouldn't know better to say the N-word that many times in a set? He needs to be a professional stand-up comedian and know not to yell
To
the
be
N-word
judged, yeah.
8 times
and
consecutively.
you cannot use him as an example. He was dealt with appropriately and has never stepped onto a stand-up stage since.
Because he wasn't funny.
Which
Wasn't
is
because
which
he
is a
said the
horrible
N-word.
example in this conversation. He ain't a comic. He wasn't a comic.
Michael
You,
Richards.
you know what, Michael Richard? You're gonna hate this. You're gonna hate this, Travis. You know what, Michael? You go all the way back to Michael effing Richards for this one.
That was
You know what you
horrible-
are?
horrible
You are a
example.
conservative talking about Chicago. Oh, but Chicago,
Brutal.
Chicago's crying.
That name one. I
Yeah.
named one.
Yeah.
Now it's 10 years
No,
ago.
he
but
wasn't
that's-
even a stand-up comic.
But he
that's-
was doing stand-up at a
And
very
he went-
prominent stand-up
and-
club.
Hey. And what happened to him?
He wasn't funny.
Banished.
And because he wasn't funny.
Because
he
he's
wasn't
not the-
banished because he used
which
the
is-
N-word. He was
which-
banished because he wasn't funny.
It can be both,
Hey,
Travis.
dumb. Horrible example. All you did
Very
was
true.
prove that we're on the same page. And you don't even have anything in that cup.
I still have a little bit left.
Michael Richards is Chicago.
Oh my God.
Michael Richards is my Chicago.
Is,
now?
is Chicago.
So bad.
You get upset when conservatives are, crime in Chicago. It's it's an easy go-to, right? It's an easy go-to. That one, you always got that one in the back pocket, though.
I do have that one in my back.
So when you see the eye roll come out because of that,
My God.
you understand why. Just like, and our frustration is that, damn it!
I just seen it. We've seen enough terrible, shitty comedians
You just
And there are a
named
lot of
one.
people who want to get it off their chest.
Wasn't
I'm not
even
going
a
to blow them
comic.
up like that. I've seen plenty of open mics in the city to know that there are
I
comedians.
don't count open mics as the top level folks that we're talking about at the highest
Now,
level. Being
I
able
do-
to
Everyone
explore
that's now a
topic.
top level folks, even here in St. Louis, started at open mic. So
Okay.
let's not.
And
let's,
how-
let's
give
not
me-
act like
Now,
the-
Michael
that-
Richards, you
So
do
you're
you
you're
do get to
alleging-
count as a stand-up. He was getting
was
paid.
not a stand-up
He was
comic.
getting paid,
He
and
was
he was
getting paid
going.
to do a
I
stand-up
mean, you're
gig,
getting.
man. Come on.
How do you know he got paid? You know
Man, he
those
got-
spots
he
are
got
like
pa-
$10 spots
Man,
where he was doing
come
that,
on,
right?
it's Michael
This is
Richards.
good.
from
He's arguing like
Seinfeld.
Travis now.
He's a Michael Richards from Seinfeld. I'm just saying, man, just because
You're
he
just
didn't walk around
equating-
with a chain on his neck and it went on his resume that he was a stand-up comedian.
The
He was
next-
getting. Was he up there doing stand-up comedy? Thank
I'm
you.
not. I will not take that as an example.
Was he not
yeah.
doing? But I'm questioning. Is that
He
when
was
you-
attempting to and was so bad at it, he never got to do it again,
And that's the repercussion.
which is appropriate.
You got any coffee left?
I got a little bit left.
Take one more sip.
Okay, then we can get devil's advocate.
I think I'm done arguing with you idiots. I think devil's advocate.
Oh, am I
I
an
don't
idiot?
think-
You ran an old woman off the road and left her dangling in a transport vehicle. You'll
had-
never be allowed to ever call us idiots again. You
She-
almost murdered a woman.
She gave me a very menacing look as I was passing, and I'm guessing she didn't change out her candy in her metal jar.
She can't.
More than-
She can't feel her left arm anymore. She was Spider-Man in an ambulance for about 15 minutes.
That was the best.
That was not the best. That was- You don't get
Matt,
to say it's
Matt
the
in the
best.
comments section. I haven't seen a bigger straw man since the Wizard of Oz.
Michael Richards is a straw man. He's real. All right. Okay.
All right.
Put it this way. You know what? That's fine.
So
yes.
he's your
comedians,
definition of a
you
stand-up
can
comic.
do anything you want on stage.
No one said
That's
that.
fine.
No one said
no,
that.
No, you just said you can say and do anything you want on stage. And look at this camera. Look at me. You can do anything you want on stage. That means I can get up and slap the shit out of your mouth if you piss me off.
Please, do.
Fair?
If you need to, go
That
ahead.
fair? Okay, cool.
Fair
Go
or
ahead.
foul?
All right, cool.
Go
Fair or
ahead.
I'm just saying.
Fair or foul's topic today. Get them in. WAL at weareliveradio.com.
Don't hit me, man. It's comedy.
Parents videoing themselves throwing cheese slices in their baby's face for laughs.
If those babies could get
challenge.
up and slap the taste out of their parents' mouth, I bet you they could.
What's
They would.
this? What's this devil's advocate we have today?
All right, today's devil's advocate. We're going to sit down and try
He's
to defend.
laughing his sick f***ing ass off.
Forgot that's our open.
It's funny they
Devil's
hit that.
advocate.
We are all about production value here.
So, a devil's advocate, we take two subjects, and Chris and I are going to be in a position to
We
defend
haven't
them.
done enough of this already.
It's important to reintroduce the segment at the start of it. Some,
People watching or listening is like, didn't you guys just do this for 27 minutes?
so today,
That was good for programming mechanics there to explain that,
I
Travis.
appreciate that.
Breaking
So-
down
to
the
reintroduce.
breaking down the fourth wall.
So today we've
Travis
chosen
Terrell.
Kate Beckinsale, who our good
you.
friend Matt Rife, who of course attended the Send Up
Nope.
at Southtown.
No,
Was that
was
not the thing?
Lou Fest redo show. He was on Wild and Out. He's a very talented young man. I think he's 23 now. A couple years ago, he dated Kate Beckinsale, and now she's in the news because of her romance with Pete Davidson, Travis's multicultural hero. What is going on with him?
sure. I'm not
That was
really
That's the
sure.
funniest thing he's ever done on Saturday Night
What's
Live. by
Rami
the way.
Malek? Whatever. I think he's whatever Rami Malek is, right?
Egyptian.
He's not that. Not the same people. Either way, so Kate Beckinsale.
Gonna blame that on comedy there?
Yeah.
What do you got there?
I'm
Yeah, right. You're gonna put that under the guise of, oh, I'm just trying to crack a joke on a podcast.
You're exploring where people are from?
Chris said, "What is going on with Pete Davidson?" And now it's on me to defend his comment.
Oh, you better. Hey, we're in devil's advocate, man.
That's right.
you are
You
correct.
stepped
We're
into
devil's
the pool.
advocate
You're
mode.
drowning.
Are in the
You're
devil's
drowning.
advocate zone. So Chris will
Okay.
be responsible for defending one Kate Beckinsale because Matt Rife told TMZ that Pete Davidson should run.
Oh, do we have a video of that? I love that Gardner knows on that series. I just
Gardner already knew the question that was going to come out of
Yeah.
Chris's mouth.
He's like,
and
no.
I am going to do something pro bono. I am going to defend my dear friend and amazing coworker, C.W. Gardner, from the multitude of accusations that he is somehow responsible for the car crashing into the Shake Shack here in St. Louis. So let's start with C.W. Gardner.
So you're defending Mr. Gardner.
I am
So,
defending
okay.
Mr. Gardner.
I have a
Here we
question
go. All
from the crowd.
Yes, you, sir. Riverfront Times.
From the Farmington Press Leader.
Oh, okay. Hello, sir.
I'm told you're, I guess, a client. You're a publicist. Is that what we do here? It always feels more like a courtroom, but it's a publicist, right?
Okay.
Okay, so you're a publicist. You look kind of like the same publicist as R. Kelly had on that TV show yesterday.
I guess you think all black people look alike, but that's your assessment,
Walked into
Mr.
that
Farmington.
one. Walked into that one.
That's a good start for me.
I'm sure this is going to be an objective question. What do you have for me, sir?
Well, Shake Shack, St. Louis grown.
Yes.
St. Louis concepted by its founder. I have tweets from 2014 from your client that say
What?
he's against anything 100% all natural, and Shake Shack offers 100% all natural Angus beef. Your client has shown a pattern of disdain towards Big Angus and its natural beef.
This is where
How
we
do you
are.
say that? And then yesterday, conveniently, a vehicle runs into the front of the building.
This is where we are in this country. You want to go back to years of tweets, a man expressing himself, which he has the right to do. He's questioning whether certain things are all natural. And as we all know scientifically, we have seen food where company has claimed that they're natural, but they're not. So I think him expressing himself, which he has the right to do, I don't know how you now have made the connection that he would then go out, steal a vehicle, crash it into a place where he lives, where he's recognized. How stupid do you think my client is? He has been a pillar of
Want me
this
to answer
community for a long time. He goes to park benches and helps naturally bring about change in these beautiful communities.
Boy, that was weak on his behalf.
God, I had to think about something positive to say.
How do you explain the map found that was hanging out of half of your client's trench coat with a big red X through the Shake Shack location that did receive the bludgeoning by vehicle? There's a big red X that said "Kill Shake Shack." How do you explain that? Listen, I'm just a lowly press man.
Look, my client, I will have to confess, he's a huge National Treasure fan. And that's actually a prop from the movie that he's creating with Nicolas Cage. Kill Shake Shack
Pretty
is
good.
the name of the treasure that's buried underneath Shake Shack. So it's just part of his film writing.
What's
and
the origin
process.
of Kill Shake Shack? What's is that from another country?
Kill Shake Shack, it's actually a code that the revolutionary soldiers would share with their commander when they located an asset.
If it was a city in Japan, how would you pronounce it?
I've not gone to Japan.
I think it's relevant.
I have a great respect for South Asia and Japan.
South, or
Japan
is that-
Japan as a country, and the
Really?
Japanese Americans who contribute to our society every day.
My Korean friend now hates you.
Oh, okay.
You
Most
familiar
honorable.
That's Japanese. So
No.
he's going to slit your throat. Are you familiar with the history with Korea and Japan?
Can't do most honorable.
Wow.
We are allies with Japan and South Korea. Let me be clear. We support them, and anybody who attacks an ally attacks America.
No.
Yes. Any other questions from the peanut gallery? Anything
wow.
you guys else have to say? I would
Outside of years of open public disdain, we have recordings of your client, etc. Your client also is upset that he can no longer pollute the streets of St. Louis in a high pedestrian area with cigarette smoke. I realize there's no bigger crime in the U.S. than smoking in public.
Wow.
So how do you defend that?
Well, first off, Jim Acosta, you and your network, you guys are fake news. Yeah. Okay. So because the way you're leading these questions, first of all, to suggest that my client is polluting the air. I don't see you, sir, talking to these corporations who absolutely put their smog and their mess in our air every day. Why aren't they here? Why aren't they in front of you being interrogated? My client, Mr. Gardner, has done nothing more than be an American. Is it so wrong that a man wants to step outside and have a smoke? Is that not his right anymore? Can a man not just be able to enjoy himself? What more do you and the government want from my client? He can't smoke. He can't drive. He can't drink. He can't love a woman. He can't do his hair. He can't dress correctly. He can't cook for himself. He can't take care of a wobbly cat. When is it going to stop? When is the U.S. government going to take their foot off our necks so we can live free or die hard?
Can I get a ticket to the mountain?
Amen. All right, Chris, you ready? I think
please
I did a
just
very
take it
good
to
job,
them.
by the way, of handling this.
Talk about subjective.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
All right, Chris Denman, here we go.
Okay.
You are
Yeah.
the advocate for one Kate Beckinsale, who, of course, seems to.
So what's the problem? She's legally dating an of-age man. She's having fun with him. She's a star in her own right. She has a very limited dating pool, and she's found another celebrity that matches up with her energy, vigor, and zest for life.
That's interesting because
Sorry.
Oh, God. Her previous boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, actually is on the record in suggesting that Pete Davidson should run. Why would he suggest that Pete Davidson run from your client?
Oh, that kid who got let go from Wild and Out and then did that broke-ass show for the festival that folded in St. Louis, Missouri?
That's got personal
That's
quickly.
your star witness? How interesting.
Well, he did have relations with your client.
Allegedly. Do you have video?
Allegedly,
Can I see it?
There are photos of your client making out with this Matt Rife on several occasions.
Okay.
She has not denied the relationship, so clearly they have a past. Why do you think this comedian, who has worked with some of the most prominent promoters in all of America, one Chris Denman specifically, I don't know if you're aware of his work, but he does great work in the area where this individual went to do his comedy show. Why would he lie?
Here's the deal. This is a very clear delineation, and I'll just step off the stage.
Okay.
In America today, women and even minorities, which Pete Davidson may be,
What?
have a very tough time, and they grow up certain ways. Matt Rife, red-blooded white American male.
Oh, boy.
From Ohio.
Oh, boy.
Obviously evil.
Oh, good point.
So the fact that you're bringing him to the table as your star witness bothers me. And the fact that you don't support a strong, hardworking woman who's paid more taxes than this entire room.
Oh, boy.
Which, you know what that fuels?
What's that?
Inner city schools.
Oh, boy.
Which
Wow.
those budgets are always managed very correctly. So the reality is you are anti-feminist.
Oh, my.
You're anti-women's choice. And you're an ageist because she happens to be pushing up on 50.
Now, you said in your comments that she's using Pete Davidson. I'm curious, if the roles were reversed, if Pete Davidson was using your client, would your client feel the same way?
One from the Travis Terrell School of Outrageness
That's
and
a good school. Some of the best have graduated from
politicness.
there.
I'm going to now lean on the fact that Pete Davidson's a white male.
Oh, boy.
And the reality is,
so now he's white now.
He's
Wow.
got every advantage possible.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he lost his father tragically. Yes, there's other issues at hand. Yes, they're probably on some weird serving each other's mental needs level. There is that part. But who in this room has not wanted to nail Kate Beckinsale? I ask you that.
These are good
Who is
questions.
she to turn down
That's a good question.
that Davidson D?
This is
I rest
good.
my case.
This is
Thank
pretty
you.
good. I'm not going to lie. I'm out of questions on this one.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Travis, thanks for the effort. I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
But your client is very problematic. Chris, you win.
Wait, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
You were never
my
gonna
client
win.
is you.
Yeah, I
You're
know.
my client.
If anyone
I
knows,
was-
it's me.
Oh, what? What?
He's tapping out. He knows I was just about to pull up CaseNet and show it to the crowd.
Damn it. Damn, he
Yeah,
didn't.
you have a problematic client. It
Yeah.
was.
He's out there leaking it. He's his own worst case. Like he's out there tweeting he wants bad things to happen. To
You basically got Roger Stone over here.
What?
Yeah, I'm
he
sorry.
had
He's acknowledging he's violating all of his gag orders.
I'm telling you, I'm just letting you know what the reality is.
Prior to yesterday, Mr. Gardner had a tattoo on his left buttocks of a vehicle crashing into a Shake Shack. I don't know how you argue anymore.
Oh, man. Damn it. Why didn't you just delete the tweets, man? Just delete the tweets, Roger.
Thank you for the victory. I thank God.
Yeah.
I thank my
How
mother.
did I thought-
I
what
thank
a-
my white male privilege.
I thought
It
that there was
good.
one way I could actually win this segment by selecting the judge. How did the judge flip it on me? And I still lose.
We have to
just
keep it
know
real,
that-
Travis.
Just know be careful because now there's always a motive with him. Now, even though he lost, he's going to try and get something on the upswing.
And the thing that's frustrating about this is that I was stuck when Chris used arguments that I have used in the past against him.
Yeah.
And he had the
God,
nerve to
it's
use
so
it
easy.
against me.
It is so easy to argue
fun,
when you
is
use
it?
those.
I've never, I don't
Just
like
shut
this
it
feeling.
down. You just shut it down. You don't like a point someone's making? Scream racist.
Now your point,
I like that.
Travis. I will applaud your point on the smoking part. That was a good speech.
I thought I went full, like,
No, it was good.
okay.
It's just your clan. It's not your fault.
Guys, we do fair or foul each and every day, and we thank you for all of your great submissions. What do you want to jump into that before we get out of here, guys? Let's do some fair or foul.
At this defining moment, change has come to America.
People often ask me, what's fair or foul? Is it a segment? Mm-hmm. Is it a movement?
No, definitely.
Is it hope? I can't say for certain. Time will be a true test of its power. But I can say, fair or foul is now and forever for the people. Gather around the radio with your loved ones and hold on to your butts. It's now time for fair.
We give it back to you, the people.
Or foul.
It's the segment Gayle King calls Robert. It's the people's fair or foul.
Go ahead, one more. Robert.
Robert.
Without even, she didn't even get slightly a defensive shoulder
No.
stance.
No, she just simply
She's
sat there
it was-
legs crossed.
her body language.
Robert?
Her body language said, "You done?"
Yes, it did. There it is. I've been looking for the phrase that absolutely described Gayle King's body language, and it was that. You done?
I'm fighting for my life.
Robert. God, we've all had. If there, look, black, white doesn't matter. Everyone has gotten that look Gayle King gave to R. Kelly when he was having his meltdown. Everyone, JPD, my mama. I know Jess has done it to your ass a couple times.
Brutal.
Gardner, you done?
His only possibility at that point was to
An
either
asteroid
just
hitting the
stop
planet.
and give up, or just go to the next level.
I thought he was going to run out the room.
And then he went to the next level.
He did. I thought he was
Running
gonna-
out of the room might have been both. It
That
was
would've-
been going next level and giving
He
up.
should have ran out of the room. That would have been better.
Yeah.
You should not have finished that interview. All right, what's our fair or foul today, Chris?
Oh, throwing cheese on your children. Stupid ass people.
Call them out, Chris. Call your people out. Right here, right now. Call them out, Chris. Turn to your camera and call out your people.
You are all officially
Yes.
undrafted
Yes.
from the once proud Caucasian race.
Yes.
I'm defecting to the blacks.
Yeah!
It's too easy to argue as a black man.
See, I told you.
I'll win every argument. You just knock them
I
down.
told you.
And think about how cool it's
Look
going to be.
what you've done.
Think
what
about
you've
how cool
done.
it's going to
I'm
be when you
taking-
start doing stand-up
I'm
and you can
taking-
finish every punchline with the N-word.
Oh man!
See,
And
life
I
is
can-
going to be easier, Chris.
And I can go into white rooms and be like, "Y'all don't know." See, here's what y'all do, and then they'll go, "We do that.
We do that. Here's a Netflix special.
Hey, man.
Man, y'all be driving Kias. Know what I mean?
Chris goes to so many comedy shows, and that's his best black comedian impersonation.
You'll be
Well,
drunk.
it's a character.
Y'all be driving Kias, don't y'all? That is not.
I would laugh.
That's actually a good joke.
I would
though. That's a
laugh.
good joke.
I would laugh if a black comic looked at the crowd and goes, "Did y'all drive here in a Kia tonight?" I would laugh. That's good.
We did. We did.
We sure did.
How did he know?
Oh, Cheryl.
Like they see us every day.
Oh, he's a funny one.
That's how Gertrude was hanging from the transport vehicle.
Brutal.
What do we have today, gentlemen?
I love the old man with the walker coming up and smooching her as she's hanging upside down.
There was an old man in a walker.
Oh, but there should have been.
That is a great story.
$10 to Southtown Pub. You can use that tonight. Our friend Will O'Donnell headlining the evening.
I guess is this what you
Sean
mean
Don,
when you're high?
Sean Don, the comedian, Tree Sodor, Andy Hamilton, all on the card.
Will O'Donnell's coming?
Will O'Donnell's headlining.
Why do we know Will? We know Will from Columbia, right?
Done the show before.
I know,
Nope,
but is he from Columbia?
not to my
Oh
knowledge.
man, I feel like we knew him before.
All
he started
white
doing
people look the
stand-up.
same.
Foul.
Here we go. Throwing cheese in someone's face is fair.
Of course.
Why I've witnessed Trav do this on the east side with some of his favorite dancers.
Oh, no, boy.
TT's. Pink eye. How about that cheese, darling? It's my black comic. Foul. You think this is just for kids? Well, it's not. There are grown women down in Jupiter, Florida who are still taking craft to the face.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Exploring topics.
Oh, wow.
That's the black sheep.
Oh, Black Sheep. He is going for a Jordan 3-peat today, and that may have done it. We may have to frame that one.
I mean, it works.
I hate the Black Sheep because he's the biggest family man I know, and he sits in the most vile shit. How does this happen?
I got a few more to read. You want to just
Yes,
call
I'm
it?
sorry. No, yeah, please read it. Black Sheep, we're going to need to sit down and talk about what the hell is going on in your life right now.
Now, Triangle Assassin's up next. I met his son. I hope to
no.
God he wouldn't do this to his son.
Oh, boy.
Foul. Okay, I like where this is going. The cheese challenge is the stupidest challenge whites have come up with yet. Damn it. It's almost on par with the Black Hood Fights Filmed Vertically challenge that's been going on for the past decade. Triangle Assassin. Little Venom back at you, huh? It hurts because it's true. Why, there is landscape mode, man. Why not just do landscape mode?
What's the next one, Chris?
Landscape mode.
That's off the sides.
Foul. I see the Russian bots are at it again, creating internet crazes just to see how dumb and impressionable people are. Sure, this one is innocent and won't have lasting consequences other than some kids growing up confused why they have an irrational fear of flying cheese. But we're going to look up in a couple of years and have an actual dog elected as president. A begging strip in every oven. We're going to be saying, huh? How do we get here? I like Bandit and all, but I'm not sure if I want him negotiating a trade deal with China. Oh, what's this? People are videoing themselves sticking their heads in a toilet and singing Thunderstruck by AC/DC. I was caught in the middle of it. Count me in.
Thunder.
And Trav, I need you saying.
Thunder.
All right, let's try this again.
And Trav, I need you saying
Thunder.
the JVL Jackal. Now, don't forget his physicality
Big boy.
when not voting for him.
That's a good point.
He's got the body of a swinging guard.
You want to talk about
It's
somebody?
like, hey, if you want him to play fullback in the big
Yeah.
man package, I got the JVL
no,
Jackal.
he definitely is a tight end that can just line up with other receivers. He's
Well,
a
it's
big
like,
boy.
do you put him at blocking tight end? Do you put him at defensive tackle?
Man,
Either works.
That's what makes him versatile.
Well, he watches this show, so he's athletic.
He's the poor man's Travis Kelce, I think.
One more question before we do this. Triangle Assassin said, "Damn it, I drive a Kia." Patrick says, "But will Denman get an invite to the cookout?" I've defected.
He has officially defected. Mm-hmm. So we'll
Sure hope
see.
so. That's going to be a rough one.
So
If
kind
not.
of, what'd you put in your potato salad, Chris?
Sugar.
Okay. You don't need to put sugar in potato salad, but it's a good start.
That's what you think. My mama taught me that.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
You just do that on my mama.
Oh no.
Mama.
Well, now you're flying back. Guys, we got $10 to Southtown Pub, and you can use that tonight at Free Comedy Headline by Will O'Donnell, everybody. Chris Gardner, who you voting for?
Black Sheep.
Why they got to be black? See? Got you, buddy.
I like the Black Sheep's email, but I want to spice this bad boy up. JVL Jackal.
Due to the content of the show, our lack of content of character, lack of entertaining content,
Good point.
the Black Sheep wins.
Of course he does. Black Sheep. I don't think we've seen this in the
This
history of the
hasn't happened
Reimagined.
since Cankles went on that run in
He
the
did.
summer of 17.
That was a big run, but
Mm-hmm.
to see what Black Sheep is doing right now, this is some impressive stuff. Congratulations, sir.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
What a performance.
What a show.
It was a show.
It was.
And it's one where we're probably going to have to do our own press conference afterwards and answer some questions to a lot of communities.
Huge thank you to all of you for tuning in today. If you haven't yet, share the show with a friend. Tell them to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, wherever they get their podcast. If you're not subscribed, do it. We'd love that. We love reviews on iTunes, all that good stuff too. Anything you can help to spread the word, that helps us to work with people like Tommy Bannister, all of our great sponsors. Thanks to Tech Electronics for the wonderful studio we've got put together here. Big project with Tani Sushi Bistro of all places. Really excited about that. We're going to be announcing that soon. Our buddy Matt Whitener and the Scenario, Daryl are going to be around here. Our friends at Impolite Company are going to be around. Mental Health Matters with Tom Duff. Check out Travis's episode. Great conversation. I've listened to part of that so far. And Travis has a measured conversation for once. Good for you.
Guys, I feel like all my points are pretty measured. Have I not shown examples of that recently?
Keep supporting us. Keep supporting those who support us. You guys are amazing. We're back tomorrow live on Facebook for the live stream. We got Beth Stelling coming in. She used to write on Crashing. She's at Helium all weekend. So tune in tomorrow for that. We'll have lots of fun. Thanks, everybody.
Peace.